Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Baking a Murder Mystery. In this video, I will be doing something different, not my normal baking a cake and decorating it. I will be doing a breakable heart and 6 strawberries since many of you guys have requested I do other treats besides decorating the cake. And before I start this video, I do want to put a little trigger warning that this video is going to talk about the sexual assault, strangulation, and bludgeon deaths of 3 minors or 3 little girls who were from the age 8 to 10. So if you guys feel like this isn't the video for you guys, that's okay. You guys could always exit out and I'll see you guys in my next video. So let's get started.
Camp Scott in Mays County, Oklahoma, first opened its gates August 11, 1928, and remained open until June 13, 1977, when 3 Girl Scouts were sexually assaulted, strangled, and bludgeoned to death. Their bodies had been left on a trail leading to the showers, which is about 150 yards from their tent at summer camp. The victims are Lori Lee Farmer, age 8, who was a brilliant, adventurous little girl that had advanced a grade in school and was 1 year younger than the kid in her class, and she was also the youngest camper at Camp Scott. Saturday would have been Lori's 9th birthday, and her parents had planned to go up to the camp and celebrate it with her. Michelle Heather Goose, age 9, has been a Girl Scout since 1974 and has been to the camp the previous year. She was a healthy child and was active in sports and was actually in a soccer team back home. She was murdered a day before her parents' anniversary. Her parents had to find out about her murder not through the police but through the media. Doris Denise Milner, age 10, was excited to be attending camp, but she had to be reassured every step of the way. Denise was a straight A award-winning student. She had just been accepted to the prestigious Carver Middle School. 2 months before the murders occurred, during the camp's on-site training sessions, a camp counselor discovered that her belongings had been ransacked. She had a box of donuts that had been taken too. Now, what was weird about the donut situation was they left the box, and inside the empty donut box was a disturbing handwritten note stating in capital letters, "We are on a mission to kill 3 girls." Now, the director of the camp session treated the note as a prank, and it was discarded. They never notified any police or any of the parents of the note that they had found. Now, on July 12th, the 3 girls, Lori, Michelle, and Doris, were assigned tent number 8 in the camp's Kiowa unit. And actually, a 4th girl was supposed to be with them too, but an error happened assigning the 4th girl to another tent. The way the tents were set up was like a giant horseshoe, and tent number 8 was located the farthest from the camp counselor's tent and partially obscured by the showers for the camp. Around 6 p.m. that day, a thunderstorm hit the camp and everyone went into their tents for the rest of the night and were all told to write letters home to their parents. A counselor said she saw a dim light in the woods out by the tree line surrounding the camp. The counselor said no one should have been out there, so she got her light and flashed it in their direction. And as soon as she did the light in the distance turned off, and she waited a while, and the light came back on and moved northwest towards the Kiowa campsite. And during this same night, a camp counselor in Camp Kiowa wakes up to this loud, horrible grunting noise. She said the noise didn't sound human, but it didn't sound like an animal either. It sounded like something not from this world. It sounded like something in pain. She actually woke up another counselor that was with her in the same tent and asked if she heard the same thing, but that counselor was too tired to respond. So the counselor grabs her flashlight and steps outside. She said as soon as she steps outside and flashes her light, the noises stopped. And she does the slow walk around the tents, but didn't notice anything out of place and goes back to her tent. Now, the girls in tent 6 said they saw someone go up to their tent with a flashlight, but they never entered. And at that time, the girls thought it was a camp counselor. But it was later discovered that no counselor has gone to their tent. The light left their tent and slowly made their way to tent number 8. The murders are believed to happen between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. on June 13th. And at 6 a.m., Carla, a camp counselor, was on her way to the showers when she discovered sleeping bags on the side of the roads, and her initial thought was that the buses must have brought more stuff the night before. But as she searches one of the sleeping bags, she discovered the body of one of the three girls. Alongside the girls, they found tape, rope, a gag, and a crowbar, and a red flashlight. Now, because of the thunderstorm that had happened and stopped around 11 p.m., it is believed the girls' bodies were moved outside between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. Since the girls' sleeping bags were not wet, they were dry, and it is believed that Denise was the last one to die, since both Lori and Michelle were already cold to the touch. However, Denise was still warm. By 7:30 a.m., the investigation begins. At 10 a.m., Camp Scott started to evacuate their campers without telling them why their summer of fun had been called to an end after only one night. The parents knew something bad had happened in camp, so they all gathered, waiting to see if the child would be the ones getting out of the buses. The camp's first calls were not to the victim's parents, but rather to the camp's lawyer and insurance company. So how horrible, just knowing that something was happened to the some of the campers, and you aren't told, like, oh, it's your child. You just have to go meet your children and hope and pray that they get off the bus. It is believed that the killer entered the girls' tents through the back and struck the children as they were sleeping. Patterns of splattered blood suggested that Michelle and Lori had been murdered inside the tent, and Doris, Denise, the older of the three girls, had been dragged and carried through the woods and then killed. All three girls had been sexually assaulted. The killer tried to clean up the tent floor since it was covered with blood. They tried to clean it up with towels and mattress covers, which were later stuffed with the girls inside their sleeping bags. On June 14, 1977, the wooden platform was airlifted to a crime lab. Now, 2 different shoe prints were found at the scene, one inside the tent and one outside the tent. On June 15, 1977, a man is arrested 7 miles north of Camp Scott. He is living in his car and is questioned by police but then released. The investigation then focused on a ranch just west of Camp Scott, owned by Jack Schroff. He had items stolen from his cabin a week before camp opened that they believed may have connections to the murder. On June 17, Jack passes a lie detector test, and due to the way the press released information, many believe that Jack was a suspect and he received harassing phone calls and threats and had to be hospitalized. The police had a meeting where it was mentioned that Cherokee man named Gene Hart had escaped from prison in 1973. So 4 years before the murders, he had escaped prison. He had been a local football hero until 1966 when he kidnapped 2 pregnant ladies, forced them into his car, tied them with rope and duct tape, and sexually assaulted them. One of the women he had attacked had said that when Gene attacked her and he finished, that he would make these strange noises, and it was nothing she could compare to. So police had to wonder if these could be the same noises the counselor had heard that night. And they also said that Jean had taken her glasses and had tried them on. Now, when the murders happened, they had found that multiple women glasses from camp counselors were missing or moved throughout the camp. Now, a cave overlooking Camp Scott was discovered, and it appeared like someone was living inside. They found tape, plastic material, woman underwear, a pair of glasses, a crumpled picture of a woman, and a newspaper. Now, if you guys remembered, I had mentioned a red flashlight that was found at the crime scene. Inside the flashlight, there was a piece of newspaper. Inside, kind of holding the battery so it didn't move around as much and make noise. Now, that newspaper was the same edition as the newspaper found inside the cave. The underwear and glasses found in the cave were both missing from Camp Scott. Now, the police believe that whoever was in the cave was definitely the murderer, and their main suspect was Jean Hart. They have the crumpled picture of the woman that they believed if they found her, they would potentially find the killer. So they ended up finding out that this picture had been taken by a wedding photographer, and the photographer had helped by a man in prison to develop them, and the man in prison was Jean Hart. The hunt for Jean Hart started, and when they found this man, he was wearing women's glasses. When Jean was arrested, an officer told him, "You did it, didn't you?" And his response was, "You'll never pin it on me." The police took this as an admission of guilt. He was arrested in a cabin, and in this cabin there was a mirror found that was linked to the campsite. Now, 2 of the girls had sperm found on them, in which Jean's defense attorneys pointed out that Jean had had a vasectomy, and that because of this, there is no way he could have left sperm. And his defense also said that Jean was framed by the police. They pointed out that the only thing linking Jean to the murders was the picture found in the cave, and this man that had testified said that he had seen those photos on the sheriff's desk after Jean had escaped prison, but before the murders had taken place, leaving them to believe the police had planted it in the cave to set up Jean. There was also a fingerprint on the red flashlight, which they didn't believe was Jean's, and the footprint found inside the tent in the crime scene was a size 9.5, and Jean wore an 11.5. Now, it's common for for murderers to maybe size up in shoes, but never have they ever sized down. So this was a big part of the defense. Now, they had first gone to the cabin where Jean was arrested a first time, and they didn't find anything. But the second time they went, they magically found the mirror and a corncob pipe linked to the camp. So the defense brought on as a witness the owner of the cabin, which was a friend of Jean, and he said they did the search and that stuff was never there, and they appeared there on the second search. His lawyer heavily stating that the police planted everything. The jury came back with the not guilty verdict. He was still sent back to prison since he had escaped to finish his sentence, but now for escaping and his prior convictions, he was given 300 years and ended up dying in prison while working out. They did an autopsy on him and found out that his vasectomy never took, so he could have left the sperm. It was possible that he could have left the sperm. Which is sad because that was their whole defense, saying that he had a vasectomy. There's no way that sperm was his. Now, in 2008, they sent the sperm to be analyzed, but it was too degraded to be tested. Till this day, the case remains as unsolved. So there hasn't been justice for the 3 Girl Scouts that were murdered. Here is a picture of the tent, so you could see where the tent number 8 is and where the counselor's tent is and how it's blocked by the showers. And here is a picture of the victims, Doris, Lori, and Michelle. This is the campers getting home. And this is Jean Hart, the main suspect.